on the belief that all of us are going to work together. Now, that is a president. President Obama is doing the same thing. He's going beyond the politics of today. He doesn't look at the politics, President Obama. He just goes right at the issue and said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do it for all and not for a few. And that's what presidents and elected officials have to do. They can't sit there as, I'm the only Democrat. Oh, you voted for me, you didn't vote for me. And so when this took place, I'll be very frank, for 8 years we got more federal money than any other city in America, more than Texas, and more than Dallas and Houston. He kept his word on that. He never ever backed down off of that. And all the secretaries under his administration kept their word. They didn't change whether they lost elections or anything. They kept their word for 8 years. And that is the story that has to be told. And so that is very important, because if you didn't have them, this would never be taking place. We'd be still sitting in the past worrying about this or that and arguing about petty things. And what this is really accomplished, plan for transformation, is really transforming people. And not allowing the isolation of people, not allowing the DNA of people. And this morning I was down turning on the bucket, I'm feeling very cold, and I had 10 young people behind me from urban prep, Inglewood High School, charter school. Now their DNA, they should not have graduated from high school. They can't go out to college because they're from Inglewood. African American young men, it's impossible. This can't take place. They're standing behind me, all of them going to college, and they turn the Buckingham Fountain on and ready. Now, right down the street, we have Robertson High School. I mean, how many will be graduating? 10%? We're putting more money into the school. And why are we putting more money into a school that's failing? And this comes up in less than 4 years. It's the 5th year, and they're successful. It's a charter school. They're not worrying about time, contracts. Why are they doing it? How can they do it? This is impossible. These young men are from Inglewood. They can't graduate from high school. They can't graduate from they can't go on to college. They can't say yes sir or no sir. They can't wear a tie. They can't wear a shirt. I mean, why is it taking place? Because you have a young man and all the mentors and students. They're not looking at their salaries. They're not looking at the watches that government employees look at. They're looking at these young souls. That's right. Same thing with Plan for Transformation. Government cannot transform. Government can't transform your soul. Government workers cannot do it. The only people do it is people who want to do it, who not be paying by the clock and by his salary and worried about their pension and health care. Those are the ones that are doing it. In the community, African American community, you are struggling for education. You are struggling even today. But charter schools are the answer. Of all the things that I've seen, all the things in my taking responsibility in 1995, I don't have to worry about a charter school. I don't have to worry about a charter school because they're going to school 6 days a week with less money. How do they do it with less money? So the biggest challenge you have is don't listen to the old way. Think of the new way for your children and grandchildren. Remember that. Don't go the old way. Think of the new way. Because if we thought of the old way, we would not be here. The Plan for Transformation, and many of the politicians say, oh, you can't do that. You're taking votes away from me. What are you taking votes away from me? Don't you want to help them? I mean, that was the old theory. Oh, you can't do this. You're taking votes away from me. It's amazing. Votes away. People want a better way of life. Don't worry about your votes. How about worrying about the people? The people that live there and the children and grandchildren and another generation. And so that's the whole story. And the story is being told even today in the future about each and every one of those presidents of local school, all the councils of the CHA truly believed in themselves in a partnership. And that made the difference. And many politicians opposed this because they always said they were going to lose a lot of votes. Lose a lot of votes. How about rebuilding their lives and their children and grandchildren? So I thank all those that supported us on this effort, both Democrats and Republicans and independents, it didn't matter. And all the naysayers out there who said that This cannot take place. You cannot rebuild these people's lives because they're lost. It's a lost generation. You can't build them and their children and grandchildren. It's impossible. Well, why don't they just come back with all the naysayers and meet the people? And meet the people what we're trying to do. Because if we don't believe in their children and grandchildren, then we have failed as a great nation. And I thank all those that have worked on the plan for transformation, all the CHA commissioners, all those who preceded everyone that really believed that we can rebuild souls, and it's taking place. And even with difficult times like this, with the recession, we still see the light at the end of the tunnel. And the Legend South, when completed, will result in 557 units of mixed income housing, 4 developments, Mahalia Place, Hansberry Square, Coleman Place, and this site, Savoy Square. The apartment community will include a broad range of green amenities, which is really important from construction to appliance to landscaping. And standing here today, I'm pleased to see the progress we have made in transforming the old vision of public housing into a catalyst of neighborhood revitalization and rebuilding someone's soul, and then looking at their children and grandchildren and another generation of saying, we can do a better job. All across the city, new communities have been completed or occupied by public affordable marketplace rate housing. And this city's a puzzle. You do something over here, you fill it up over here, you start filling it up, see? Then everything all of a sudden connects. And it starts connecting, then you start building the whole thing. You just don't stay in one area, you move it all around. And that's what you have to do. And that's why when I go around the city, seeing all the connections that are taking place. We're very proud of thousands of residents that are, whether it's jobs or housing, working with CHA residents have nearly doubled. I'm really proud of that, and we can see all the projects. Since the plan was launched, $3.2 billion in private and public resources have been invested in the effort. CHA has rehabbed or redeveloped more than 20,000 units of housing since 1999, which is 80% of the way towards its goal. We have renovated most all the senior citizen buildings. Now we're looking at SROs, single room occupancy. We're looking at grandparents raising grandchildren, and where we place that housing, usually next to a faith-based organization or a non-for-profit, so they have, services there. And then you have to look at the veterans coming back, veterans housing, seniors, and you have to look at substance abuse. It's a problem. It's a problem for the nation, not just a problem in CHA. It's a problem for everyone. Substance abuse, alcohol, drugs, a combination of things. So we have to work on that. We have to work on early child education and, of course, housing completely. And the affordable housing issue, it's really interesting. Everybody, not when you talk about the really wealthy people, they don't want affordable housing. They want affordable housing someplace else. And when you start talking about the city, no one wants affordable housing in their own backyard. They want to put it in somebody else's backyard. And so that's one thing I found out in my 22 years. There's a lot of talk out there, not much action. And it's always someplace else and not my own backyard. Until then, you face reality and say, we're going to go ahead. In the third and fourth ward, there's been a revitalization. And this property, everybody knows, it's close to downtown, public transportation. And we can see underway the construction of the Parkway Boulevard Apartment, replace Stateway Gardens with over 1,300 units in multiple phases. And the problem is market rate housing. Housing market went south. How do we do this? How do we build a market rate housing to basically have market rate people move in? And that is a problem. It's not only a problem here, it's a problem all over. And we have to come through this thing. Because the American dream is to own your own home. But you cannot be taxed out of your home. You can't buy a home and realize your taxes are bigger than anything else you can have in life. And they're going to take that dream away if they keep taxing. And that's why government has to get smaller, both the local, both the state, county, and federal has to get smaller. You cannot afford it. You cannot afford more tax. I don't care what people tell me.
That's right.
You cannot afford taxes. And that is a major issue coming up. The TRC Senior Village, one is a 71-unit independent living developer, income seniors, opened last year. The first district in downtown, the 1718 South State Street. It's a brand new, wonderful facility construction in the first district. Chicago Police Headquarters at 35th in Michigan. I went to DeSalle High School, I mentioned that, so I'm a media man. And so we replaced the old Lemon Street station, and that revitalized that community. And that was really interesting. About 80-90% of all owners of that property are African Americans. Very interesting, and became very successful. And many of them, they moved facilities up to 39th Street, 39th in Michigan, built a whole motel there and all that on behalf of African American, remember that, owner of that property, and basically built this. And so that's an example of really looking at how they can rebuild and stay in the community. The construction of a new firehouse at 39th and Wabash, we just announced that very shortly. Investments and renovation and improvements in 21 schools in the 3rd and 19 schools in the 4th Ward. We've invested money in those schools, so we upgraded it, and that's really interesting. I'll give you a small slide. I went to China, and they had 50 children in the classroom. Here in Chicago, America, people be marching every day, 50. It's impossible 50 kids learn in a classroom, but they do it. But you let us know, and you ask them why. Why can 50 kids learn? We're lucky you have 20 kids can learn here, but that's another issue. Our parks and open spaces are among our greatest treasures. And to the end, the Chicago Park District constructed 3 new park sites, 50 new playgrounds at popular Washington Taylor parks. Park District also had a wonderful beach, Oakwood 41st Street Beach there, which includes a beautiful beach house, wonderful location. Rebuilt that whole area. The 31st Street Harbor project anticipated with boat slips, harbor facilities, parking, 2 acres of open space. Again, the whole amenities there at 31st Street. We're very proud of that. We spent 140 in general infrastructure money, $140 million in infrastructure and facility improvements dedicated to the community. Construction of the brand new Education Teachers Academy, 2004, rehab, construction of affordable housing, mixed income developments, and library system. 1996, a renovation of Chicago Bay Public Library. We consolidated 2 reading rooms at Ickey's Homes and Safeway Gardens, public housing. 2000, Friends of Library, Illinois Center for Book designated George C. Hall branch is a literary landmark and recognition of the library's promotion of African American literature, literary culture by serving a meeting place for Gwendolyn Brooks and many others in the community. It's amazing the cultural area of that library and what it produced in writers, and that's really something. And met you over many, many years, and thank you for your love of the city, and most importantly, your love of another generation of young men and women that you're going to say we all can do a better job. God bless you and thank you.